The whole Leshrac deal, though, John, if I may, the thing with the Leshrac, and we talk about this every time this hero gets picked up, is if it has a bad start, it's gonna go through hell. Like, it's literally a useless hero if it has a bad first 10-15 minutes. I was kind of thinking to myself, why even take the risk on the Leshrac? But, I mean, unless you can explain it to me, John, but I'm sure it's just something they're comfortable with, something they want to play. I'm sure they've got a plan.
Ooh.
Shadow Fiend comes out for Tigers, which is pretty interesting as well. That does mean it does appear to be a support pudge we're looking at. I suppose. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that, John, but it's probably likely that it's going to be a support pudge.
I think it's much more likely yet to see a support pudge here. Shadow Fiend up in the mid lane against potentially Leshrac. Most likely Leshrac is interesting. It's a matchup we saw before, but really since the tapering off of both of these heroes, it's been a while since we've seen that matchup. I'd be interested to see how that has fundamentally changed with the past year, because it's been about a year since we saw this sort of mid matchup. So I am keen on seeing that. I am a bit disappointed it's not a core Pudge. I'll have to admit to you. I mean, it does make a bit more sense to have Pudge in that support role. He is a bit more selfless. You do still want items, but it's definitely not as intensive and timing sensitive as a Shadow Fiend. So it does make sense to move that hero into the support. It could be an offlaner, but I don't think you want to do that when you have the Enigma, who'd really prefer those fast levels.
Certainly so. Last pick up though, Tigers. How do they finish this one off? It does appear they're looking for a position 1. Still a fair few options available for them. There weren't many banned, actually.
Yeah, quite a fair few. You still have the Juggernaut in the pool, you have the PA, you have the Troll. You have really basically every single viable core still in there. The Troll's been banned out, of course, and Lifestealer's been banned out. Jug's been banned out. Okay, so not as much. I forgot bans exist. I forgot. They do get the Void, and this is a combination we used to see a lot of before. Enigma and Void, Enigma and Shadow Fiend. It used to pop out quite a fair bit, and I feel like it is. It does work out quite well. You have really good teamfight potential coming out from Tigers. Really great combinations with the Shakira and the Enigma. The one thing I am worried about is if you do fall a bit behind in your pressure, it's going to be really easy for Mineski's lineup to apply pressure in the mid game. It's a bit iffy in the early game because Tigers does have pretty decent early game with the Jack and possibly the Enigma and the Pudge if the rotations are good. But Mineski can burn through your towers once you reach that 15 to 20 minute mark if you give them a bit too much, maybe 25 minutes if it's been a rough time for the laning phase. And it's at that point when Leshrac comes online, starts melting your towers, the Lone Druid farms pretty darn fast, his bear is going to be obnoxious, and, Mineski's not tied down to these big teamfight ultimate cooldowns, Mike. They're not tied down by the Black Hole, they're not tied down by the Chronosphere, they're just basically there ready to go anytime. Winter's Curse being up, it's not too long of cooldown anyway, so they can play around that quite well. And that does mean Tigers has to play a really strong tempo early on. They have to maximize those level 1 ultimates quite well, make sure those cooldowns are maximized, shut down the map for Mineski, and make it easier for themselves to snowball.
Yeah. Well, see what they can do in this game, Mineski. They still have 1 pick left, and like you said, they're looking pretty strong right now. They will go finish it off with the OD, so they're going to mix it up a bit. Of course, we did assume that Leshrac was probably going to be mid. However, they are going to put KP on that Leshrac, and rather, they'll put Moon on the OD mid up against, it appears, the Shadow Fiend on Dendi. Bello, he'll be on the Pudge. This will be interesting. It's definitely doesn't seem like it's going to be a very easy lane for Dendi on that Shadow Fiend either, up against that OD. Of course, a lot of eyes on 458 as well to make sure he gets going on this Void.
Yeah, I feel like that mid lane matchup of OD up against SF again, it's a bit more common nowadays. You still see that Leshrac, of course, in mid, but this does make a bit more sense for Mineski. I have to say, I do like Mineski's lineup a bit more, Mike. Again, you're not limited to these cooldowns to get everything going. You're really not limited to forcing 5v5s to maximize your spells. You can basically just, take scattered team fights, apply pressure on a map, and slowly whittle away at Tigers. But the output from Tigers is pretty darn good if they can hit their timings. So you want your Void to get a good 6 timing, you want Zephyr to get his BKB or his Blink Dagger fast, and then you kind of start to want to have Mineski group up and, take them on when they're in tight spots. Very easy to do with Enigma, with Jakiro. That is kind of the objective here for Tigers. Should be interesting to see if they can pull that off, Mike.
Well, John, first game of the day or of the night, depending on where you are, but it's going to be a hell of a fun one to watch, and I really hope, John, it's not going to be one of those one-sided matchups, because, again, we were questioning the draft of Tigers quite a bit. It's a lot of fun to watch. Whether it pans out into a win or whether it makes it so it's a close competition is a different question in its own entirety, John. We'll have to wait and see, but I hope that it's not a stomp from Mineski or something silly like that, because that would make me very upset, John. I do love these black holes. I do love the Pudge. I love the Chronos from the Void. This draft makes me very happy. Very happy indeed. This is what I would draft.
Just KP throwing some shade on Velo, I believe.
Not very nice at all, is it?
Just a bit of fun, Mike.
They are the both
Southeast Asia.
I mean, they're both Australians, I believe, are they not?
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's second best. Because
excuse me.
KP's best.
Well, that's assuming I'm not in the equation, John.
Oh, Mike, we've talked about this before. I'm not entertaining your delusions of grandeur any longer, Mike.
458. Gonna be in trouble. Does get stunned up. The double stun is there, although 1437 will be there to help out on that Jakiro. Raging Potato now copying a lot of damage from 1437. He's going to continue copying that harassment. So they probably will be able to claim that boundary rune surely. I say that. No, they do. They are left alone to just pick it up. Meanwhile, Velo, he does manage to get the other one before the bear manages to take it. However, it does still mean that Mineski start off with 3 bounty runes. So a nice little lead for them.
Yeah, a nice little gold boost for Mineski to start off with. And that does really help out. Helps your mid hit better timing in his early items. Helps him pick up extra regen as needed. And, OD is great in mid. He takes a bit of levels to really start taking over in that exchange. So every little thing counts for Moon here in the mid lane.
So it appears Zephyr currently is up at top lane on that Enigma, by the way. He's doing a bit of blocking on the creeps. I'm assuming he's going to deny one, take the Eidolons. And perhaps he's going to sit in the jungle for a while. Or TP down bot. One of the other. He's going to the jungle.
That's definitely a lot more Southeast Asian than I expected. I know we are in the Southeast Asian region, Mike, but this feels a bit too familiar. It almost feels like a day-to-day kind of thing occurring here. You have Jungle Enigma coming out for Zephyr, which I guess it's fine, as long as Velo doesn't really feed Ajit too much, as long as he doesn't lose too much ground in this bot lane. You do get a bit more with having that Enigma actually just camp the jungle and have your Pudge soak free XP.
Certainly so. Have to keep an eye on Velo as well, see how he does do on that position 3 Pudge. Not too often you see that. You need some decent setup for it as well. It's not one of those heroes where, it's not like a pub game, John, where you throw out hooks randomly and hope you hit somebody. You have to have the setup for the hook, generally speaking, in these competitive games.
Yeah, definitely. So
yeah.
They really don't have the greatest setup for this Pudge, so it's going to be a bit hard for Velo to really maximize that.
Top lane though, John, they're about to lose their Void. 458, he does stick charge and walk away with the time walk. 1437 will find the first blood. A very nice play from the 2 up at top lane, although it does appear 1437 will lose his life in the process, but certainly finds a nice little trade for his team.
Yeah, a really nice clean trade for Tigers. They do take out Ninja Boogie first, so nice little bonus gold going your way. Otherwise, it's pretty much just a support exchange. Nothing too big for either side. I feel like the cores should be happy. Really, none of them hurt too much. I guess it does kind of hurt 458 a bit more, as he has drained all of his regen.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. That's certainly going to be a problem. We'll see how he deals with it. Korea is currently occupied in that mid lane. Speaking of mid lane, John, Dendi having a decent time up against that OD. Moon is currently ahead by 1 last hit, make that 2 now. But he is keeping up for the moment, thanks to those raises. Of course, Moon being very annoying with that Astral. But it looks like Dendi is going to be okay, at the very least for the moment.
He is forced to salve up, but yeah, this is really the point where OD comes into his own in this mid lane. Just spamming out that Astral Imprisonment with the Equilibrium just means you can sustain for as long as you want.
Nice little play there at bot lane by Velo as well. Takes down Ninja Boogie on that Winter Wyvern, who really had no escape once that rot was just slowing him down. Ajit was trying to help out, but Spirit Bear is only level 2. In fact, nice hook comes out again from Velo. Won't find any kind of kill from that, but some nice harassment. And it appears, John, that the Velo Pudge is being slightly detrimental to the Lone Druid. Ninja Boogie does feel like he needs to be here.
He is a bit of a nuisance, I have to admit. Velo is doing quite a good job in this solo offlane Pudge. He's not really slowing down Ajit's farm. Ajit's still in the top of the creep score, of course, 23 to 12. And really, that's a really good start for a Lone Druid who really wants to have that good early start. The Midas timing should be pretty good, and Radiance will build up fairly fast if I feel if you don't get more pressure in this map.
See if the side of Tigers do rotate some more people over. Like you said, his farm hasn't really been a struggle for the farming game for Ajit. Just the presence of the Pudge, I suppose, is bothersome in its own right. Ninja Boogie again gonna feel that presence. Velo will start off the rot. Ninja Boogie, he will just walk up the hill, but he gets hooked immediately. Though he did pause just for a second. Oh, excuse me. My apologies. I forgot the draft overlay. That's really silly. Sorry, John. I forgot the draft overlay on. We actually talked about this before the game started as well. My apologies to the viewers. It's been a while. 1437.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Oh.
No, not at all. Not at all. You even said it to me before.
Exactly. It happens, Mike. It's okay. All of us are, we're getting up there in age. It's understandable, Mike.
Yeah. Anyway. 1437. Impale will be there from Raging Potato. Now the follow-up stun as well. 458. There to help out. Does look like Zephyr is actually rotating around now. Got a bunch of Eidolons there, and they are going to start with the slow and Raging Potato, but pretty hard for Zephyr to get anything done without the Black Hole available. He's just going to rotate into the jungle and use those Eidolons a bit more efficiently. Moon. Gonna cop all the raises from Dendi, and now the Astral will be there to save him for the moment. Midnight Pulse gonna tick him down just a bit, but it's not gonna be quite enough yet. Though Dendi, he does have the raise, but it will not reach. Very close call for Moon. Barely managing to survive throughout all that. Still making a run. The Eidolons were chasing.
He made it.
He made it out. He will get to the shrine. A very close call indeed.
Yeah, really nice movements coming out from Moon. Really good rotation from Raging Potato to save his butt in that one. Quite close, but not quite. He does waste a lot of time, which gives Dendi a lot of time to catch up in that mid lane. But it's not too much, I feel. You're definitely happy with how that ended up with your Moon.
Zephyr. Go down to the bot lane. Ajit. Trying to keep his Spirit Bear alive. He okay at 250 HP. Like he did end up getting Velo on that Pudge. Of course, that level 3 Spirit Bear, much harder to go up against with that root available. Velo. Again, gonna find his way down bot. Ninja Boogie is there. Doesn't really have vision for that hook, but just gets a tiny bit. He may go for it. 437 will also join him at that bot lane now. They understand how important it's going to be to make sure Ajit just can't continue to free farm like this. Now Velo, though, being slowed down. Bear Entangle will be there as well, but Zephyr does join in to make sure nothing happens, and it looks like both teams are just going to walk away from each other for the moment.
Yeah, just some real strong posturing from both sides. We do see Zephyr starting to take a bit more of an active role. He does have his Dominator up, so he can join these rotations if he wishes to, but I think he does want to still keep farming, work on to his items first and hit level 6. And he really hasn't been contested. I'm a bit surprised to see that Mineski has not applied pressure at all on the map, on the jungle for Zephyr. So he's just free farming right now in his jungle Enigma, and it's paying off for Tigers.
They'll get 458 on the Void. Been told the in-game sounds a bit low, so I'm going to increase it. But they do get 458 on the Void. Nice little play, again coming up from Mineski. Bring up the net worth graph, and top 3 net worths right now are on the side of Mineski as well, which makes matters a lot worse for Tigers. Considering we were saying, John, they need to have some kind of momentum throughout that mid game. Currently, that's not really working out for them.
Yeah, and we're starting to reach that point where the cores from Mineski can start pushing these towers quite fast. KP is already melting that top tower.
Will be some rotations onto KP, but looks like Dendi will join that top lane and make sure the waves get cleared out and he can't just use that Diabolical Edict. KP will just walk his way out. I mean, so far so good for the side of Mineski though. I mean, Tigers, I don't know what the plan is from here. Like, Velo, he can start roaming around as that level 6 Pudge now. But again, it's one of those things with the Pudge where it's not as simple as throwing a hook and expecting to land somebody. They've really got to try and set him up for those hooks.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a rough time. None of the heroes on Mineski's sides outside of the supports are particularly squishy. Even then, it takes a bit of effort to really clean up the Nyx and the Winter Wyvern. So solo pickoffs are probably not going to be a thing. They might be able to catch Ajit here. But
easier said than done, John. I mean, they're trying their best, but I mean, he even gives a bit of gold away to Ajit. Thanks to that Centaur dominated creep that the Enigma had. And well, I mean, Ajit's just going to continue just sitting there farming with the Spirit Bear, and you just gave him an extra 200 gold for his trouble.
yeah, it's definitely not the best start in the world for Tigers, and considering the lineup, as you mentioned, they do need that good start. Oh,
Hello, nice hook from him. Now the Dismember, this should be a kill onto Ninja Boogie. He doesn't have any way to stop this, and Velo sets that kill up for himself. A very nice hook indeed. It's like, while he did that, they're going to try and push in that bot tier 1 tower a bit. I suppose that's one way of shutting down this Spirit Bear's farm. Just take down the tower, ensure the Lone Druid can't feel safe, and they will eventually get that done as well.
yeah, that does open the map up a bit for Tigers, lets them rotate in that bottom jungle quite a fair bit easier. So it's a good tower to take out. It does force our Spirit Bear, Ajit on the Lone Druid, of course, to probably farm a bit safer. They don't have wards watching that bot jungle. I feel like you might need to drop at least one ward in the entrance to secure that area for Ajit if you want to keep doing this. Otherwise, he will be susceptible to these ganks.
Mid lane now. Being pushed in. 1437 and Dendi will get started on the tier 1 tower. The Raging Potato immediately TPs, and now they found Velo as well. He was roaming around in that jungle, although Zephyr comes in. He cops a stun. He will be astraled up. They've got to stop him from using that black hole. Meanwhile, Velo actually dismembering up the Spirit Bear right now. Ajit gonna let it go and continues right-clicking with it and will find the kill onto Velo. It looks like it will be okay. And that's pretty much it. They got the kill onto the Pudge. They saved the Spirit Bear, and the side of Tigers, they just can't move any further.
Yeah, again, really good control coming out from Mineski. They are pretty much getting these good trades going for themselves. And again, Ajit is just growing bigger and bigger as time goes on. He's at 6.3k net worth now, followed up by KP on the Leshrac and Moon's OD, and they're just growing bigger and bigger. You start to face issues as Tigers now. You want to take these team fights, but you're really not set for them yet.
Hello. Doesn't actually break the smoke that's there from Mineski. They're going up top lane. Raging Potato with the Vendetta. They'll root him in place. And now the Impale as well as the follow-up stun from KP. A very, very simple pick-off. Again, onto the Void, but so important for them to continue doing that. Now Dendi trying to find something in return, but the Ice Path did miss from 1437. It did mean that the Leshrac could just TP away very safely. Meanwhile, Velo, mid lane, gets the hammer dropped on him, gets taken down immediately, and the TP is cancelled off in the mid lane as well to make matters worse. And with that, Mineski, they'll claim that tier 1 mid tower. And, I mean, things are going to start to get a little worse for Tigers at this rate, because they cannot get any farm up across that map.
Yeah, again, Tigers needed to get a good start with that Pudge. I figured the Pudge would be a bit more aggressive in that early game. Really didn't pan out the way Tigers would have planned to. And again, this is the timing for Mineski to really start coming online. Your Leshrac starts pushing really fast. And
they found Dendi.
Stop.
Yeah, they found Dendi as well, though, John. I mean, to make matters worse, he's going to use the ultimate, and Raging Potato, just by carapaces, doesn't care about it whatsoever. KB will claim the kill onto the Shadow Fiend. He was trying to go for the TP play, but unfortunately for him, Moon, he did find the Astral just in time. Things go from bad to worse.
Yeah, the hardest part about being shut down this hard as Tigers is that because of the existence of Zephyr and him going in and out of the jungle after pushing a bit, there isn't too much space for Tigers to farm up right now. Dendi does not have freest access to the jungle, neither does their Void.
They found the Winter Wyvern bot lane, and they're going to push in a tier 2 tower at the bot lane as well now. You saw the rotation coming over. I mean, they got a support kill. They get the tier 2. In some way, I'm kind of shocked Mineski allowed that to happen, but at the same time, it looks like they're more than happy to just trade the tier 2 towers. Question is, will Tigers allow it? And it doesn't look like they plan to. Zephyr TP's in immediately with that smoke. The other TP being cancelled off, and as I say that, Velo, on that Pudge, he will get scanned out as well. Nobody really around him at the moment. Though it does look like 458 getting caught out again. Raging Potato and KB just roaming around the map, finding them every time. They might even find more. At the very least, Velo was able to secure a couple bounty runes for his team thanks to that hook. Are they going to go into mid lane? But it looks like they're going to be the victims here, because again, KB, he'll come in with the root, and now with that Shadow Fiend, copying a lot of damage from Moon, he will get the Astral as well, and KP will just stand around, wait for the Pulse Nova, and he'll tick him down. Meanwhile, Velo has been caught out on the backlines as well. There's no real way to hold him down on a nice Ice Path onto 3 heroes from 1437, but it won't matter, or will it? The Chrono, it will come out with the Macropire. It's a lot of damage, and they are going for KP on that Leshrac. It looks like they are able to burst him down just barely through all those heals. They're 458. He'll be okay. Moon managed to get Velo again in the backlines, and 9 to 5, I mean, it showed promise for Tigers at the very least, right? Like, that was a very nice Chrono.
Yeah, that's what Tigers needs to get done, really, just landing these big teamfight combinations that they have in their lineup. We still haven't seen the Black Hole come up, of course, and just combining that with Jakiro is always big. Just either Enigma or Void with Jakiro to follow up is going to be a lot of damage. That was a great counter initiation there. The issue was, by the time it came out, you've already lost 2 cores. Your offlaner, basically, and your mid laner. Right? And all of that gold really just went to Jakiro, so not the best exchange still for Tigers. It's a sign of hope. As long as they can keep catching these big combinations coming out, they still have fight in them.
Yeah.
But they have to play around those cooldowns.
KP, that was his first death of the game, and I mean, he only died just barely, but he's been doing a fantastic... Oh, no. Top lane. Moon baits out the Black Hole, and when it came in, he blinked straight away. Oh, no. They were about to... Yeah, they threw out a Black Hole for that, John, and unfortunately, it was a very nice play from Moon. Now, bot lane, they have found Jakiro as well. 1437, he will end up losing his life, and with that, it looks like they are going to go straight for that tier 2 tower.
Yeah, I don't see this one stopping. I feel like that is going to be the tier 2 for Tigers gone. They will try to apply some pressure up top, but no. There's a huge army from Enigma at the very least. Could get the push going here as well, so 1-for-1 trade at best, if it does manage to get out.
Gonna try and defend this. Eidolons are gone now. Hook is nice from Velo though. He gets Ninja Boogie again. At the very least, these hooks have been on point, but Raging Potato is here now. They hold in the Enigma in place, and with that, he's gone. 458 will manage the TP out. They don't get the tier 2 tower. They do take out most of his HP, but again, John, they lost the black hole in that process. They lost the Enigma as well. Still not looking great. I mean, this is a 7k net worth lead now for the side of Mineski.
Yeah, it's a really good transition for them in this mid game. Again, they're hitting their power spikes quite well. They're maximizing the strengths of this lineup, really applying pressure around the map, taking these towers when they can, and not giving Tigers too much of a chance to group up as 5 and take these 5v5s on.
Again, the root is on the Void. Nice hook from Velo to save him, and 458 goes back in with the double chrono. Though where's the backup damage? Velo, Dismember is there, but this is not the best fight, I don't think. Raging Potato, he will end up going down. Now can they find the Spirit Bear? Not quite yet. The Astral will save it for the moment that they drop the Macropire. Now the Winter's Curse coming out. Ninja Boogie, they're going to set up one stun. Sanity's Eclipse as well, though the Ice Path comes in. Dendy is in massive, massive trouble. He throws out the Requiem just in case, but he does go down regardless. What a mess of a team fight, John. Although, it does appear that it was kind of even. You lost a Shadow Fiend for a Nyx Assassin.
I feel like it cost Tigers a bit more. They wasted Chronosphere there, and, you know,
they're going for more.
Kill out that.
Velo, again, loves getting Ninja Boogie, apparently. Will eventually rot him down, I'm sure, though they've lost 1437 in the process. Now 458. Focusing on Raging Potato. It's a slow process, but he's going to eventually get it, surely. Ice Path will be there just in case, and they will find it. 13-9 now. Tigers finding a couple nice pickoffs for themselves. I mean, it's a way back into this game. If they keep on doing those things, it could work out.
It definitely is. The one issue I see is that it's not clean, Mike. It's not clean the way these fights are breaking out for Tigers. It's a bit of a mess. I want it to be a bit, better organized, better timed. I mean, the Chronosphere, when it came out, the Diabolic Edict was going on for KP, so the Void couldn't go up close and really just bash away, because he was ticking way too low. So just all these tiny choices in the middle of the team fight are costing Tigers a fair bit, I feel, even though these fights are in their favor. They need to kick it up a bit, because they are still significantly behind.
Let's say a nice item there from Velo. He picks up the Rod of Atos now, so he can really set himself up. I agree with the points you made, by the way, John. I certainly feel like the team fights haven't been clean from the side of Tigers, but at the same time, they are finding these big ultimates. Though I say that, there is a smoke coming out from Mineski now. Looks like they are ready to engage again, though they are up against another smoke team with a Black Hole and a Chrono, so it's not the safest bet. Raging.
Oh boy.
He's in Vendetta, he's going to break the smoke. Where's the detection?
No dust?
No dust.
Just sentries? No dust. Up against the Nyx? That's strange. I have to call out that one. That's a pretty strange choice.
Well, I'm sure it's just a bit of a mistake.
Pretty standard. It's a bit of a costly mistake. If they caught Raging Potato out there, Mineski might have slipped up and decided to come in to defend up against 5. That would have been very, very deadly for Mineski in that tight spot. So I feel like that's definitely a very big wasted opportunity coming out from Tigers. Really have to step up the detection a bit, because Raging Potato has been sneaking into their backlines a lot, and sentries have been good for that, but you still want at least one dust on your team, just in case, especially for the smokes.
Scan from the side of Tigers. They did scan the Roche Pit, and they actually got Ninja Boogie, but they may assume someone's actually in that Roche Pit. Now KP mid lane. Let's throw a stun off onto Dendy, but he'll be okay. He had the Enigma to back him up. You've got to remember those two ultimates are still available, being the Black Hole and the Chrono, and there will be another smoke coming out from the side of Mineski. They're going to go for, though. If they don't catch out that Enigma or that Void, well, never mind, because Dendi runs straight into them, and with that, it looks like he's just going to die, although no Ice Path. It will come in for the moment, but KP continues the chase. They're throwing every heal they can at Dendi, but it will not work out. Meanwhile, Velo, he's gone after Moon. Still not going to be great. Zephyr not throwing out the Black Hole. There's too many stuns going on right now, and too many ways to cancel it. And with that, 3 heroes are gone immediately off the side of Tigers. They saw Dendi go down. Unfortunately, they did continue going back in, but it did not work out for them, and now Mineski, they're going to claim a Roshan for themselves.
That goal disparity just grows bigger and bigger. The map control is going to slowly be eaten away from Tigers, even more so than it has. And again, the issue is that Tigers feels a bit spread. They smoke up together. When they don't find anything, they scatter out to farm again, which is fine. That's kind of a logical play, but Mineski will keep popping those smokes. Like, they smoked again. They just want one pick off, and they know Tigers will stream in slowly. I think that's a mistake. I think Tigers should accept the loss. You know, if you lose a hero, don't jump in, back them up one by one. That's not going to help anyone.
Certainly not. With that, Mineski, again, going to continue this control over the map. Looks like Raging Potato, again in that Vendetta form, looking around for another victim. The Tigers are playing this smart now. They have grouped up and they're sticking as 4 or 5 at a time. And I suppose this is really the only way they can ensure their survival. Of course, Velo, he does end up getting a dust for himself as well, so now you have that detection available in case you run into a Nyx Assassin. And while all that's happening, Tier 2 top tower will end up dropping thanks to Arjit. It was very low anyway, so it was kind of expected to happen. Velo, there will be an Astral mid lane. They have found Dendi once again. The hook will be on the Nyx, but he did spy Carapace, and now the Chrono. He's found 2 of them. Can they deal the damage, however? Requiem, Moon gets blown up, but it is just an Aegis, and meanwhile, Arjit got Velo. Now the Winter's Curse is all onto this Faceless Void, with the double stun coming out from Raging Potato, and the hammer being dropped. Oh, Moon just destroys them. Now Zephyr comes in, but what the hell is that going to do? He's gone, John. He couldn't even throw out the Black Hole in time. In fact, he did throw out the Black Hole. When? When did he throw that out?
I'm not sure. It must have been immediately cancelled because I swear I didn't see anything. It must have been washed out in all the particle effects, but that was a very rough team fight for Tigers. They kept forcing the issue on the OD, on Moon, even if they knew he had the Aegis. I really don't think you want to go for Moon when he has the Aegis. I think you want to take out the backline, maybe try to find that Nyx Assassin, maybe try to find a Winter Wyvern first. Those are definitely up there for easy to kill and really high priority targets, but it's really not been happening for Tigers. The positioning for Mineski has been really tight. They don't really have a good way of gap closing as well on Tiger's side, besides having a good hook from Velo. I think that's one issue they have. Now, for these pickoffs, you really don't want to waste the Chronosphere on the backline, of course. So that is playing into the troubles that Tigers has. They have no clean way of starting these fights. No clean way of taking out the backline, and it's just very hard to catch Mineski out alone now. They're starting to group up as 5, and Tigers is strong in a 5v5, but they've been so staggered that it really just doesn't show.
I'd like to bring up as well, John, 458, he went for that Radiance build on the Void. I understand it's going to help with that evasion. The burn damage not so much, but that evasion going to really help out the team during those engagements. Is that what he's trying to do with this Radiance build? Like, I understand it's going to help him farm faster as well, but seems a bit... I'm not sure. Like, it doesn't seem like one of those Radiance games.
I mean, there's always an argument for the Radiance. I think you definitely have space for it.
They're hexing up a Siege Creep right now. Raging Potato, again, nice by Carapace, and the double impale, once again coming up from him. 1437, Ice Path to block. Now the Spirit Bear Arjit going on to Velo. Meanwhile, that Winter's Curse immediately taking out Zephyr, and now it looks really bad for the side of Tigers. They're going after one in that Void. The Astral will hold him in place, and again another double impale coming out from Raging Potato. Meanwhile, the Void's still alive for the moment, but Moon and KP do take him out. 1437, the last man standing in this engagement will end up going down as well. In fact, hold that thought, because Dendi is still being chased by Raging Potato, who is apparently just dancing around right now. He eventually gets the impale, and with that, Dendi gets astraled. Item drops being thrown out by Moon, and he is dead.
Oh my god.
Very disrespectful, John. How dare they?
Oh, absolutely, Mike. There's no respect here in Southeast Asia. I'm not sure where you get that idea from, Mike. But that was a very rough team fight for Tigers. Again, just things are not going their way. Their movement has not been on point. Mineski has been on top of them, and really on top as well. I'm not sure if you can really fully attribute this to draft, because I feel like there's definitely a strength to Tigers draft. It just feels like the execution has fallen a bit off. The itemization as well, as you were saying, the Radiance. Look, it's not a bad item in Void. There are definitely better items, but the timing is what I have issue with. 27 minutes in, 26 minutes in without Radiance is not a good timing. Radiance, if you're going to be using it for farm acceleration, you want it early.
With that, I mean, there's one open barracks left, John. The Malian Racks up at the top lane. They didn't stick around to go for that. They understood the Chrono and Black Hole are available right now, so they don't want to take any risks on the side of Mineski. Just wait for Raging Potato to scout somebody out and set up a nice kill attempt side of Mineski, if they can pull that off. 458 has to be so careful. He can't afford to get picked off right now, and they're going to jump in with the scythe. Though nice hook from Velo to save him for the moment, and it will be okay.
What?
Are they going to reinitiate? It looks like they are. They realize they need to do something right now. This shouldn't be expected from Mineski unless they saw it. And Chrono, it will get only one. KP was there, but he's on the outside, and now he actually walks into it. Meanwhile, Arjit still looking pretty healthy. That bear doing a lot of damage, and now Zephyr and 1437 are both gone. Make that Velo as well. They found the Void to make matters worse. 458 makes a run for it. He's still chasing Ninja Boogie right now, and it looks like he will find him, but he does end up losing his own life, and the GG call was made anyway.
Pretty dominant game for Mineski, if I have to say, Mike. 29 to 10, 59 minutes in, and 32k net worth lead. That is insane coming out from Mineski. Really significant, good timings from them, and just really well played. I feel like Tigers really has to rethink their draft, play to their strengths. I don't think this was exactly a draft issue. I wouldn't say it's also, you know, they were absolutely outplayed. I think it's just down to execution. It seemed like they didn't play to the strengths of their draft, Mike, and we have to see that come out when you draft something as sensitive as what they had in this game.
With that, John, we'll go to the next game in just a moment. It is, of course, MLP Dota and johnxfire joining you, and allow me to extend my apologies for the draft issue that we had, that I had before. We'll be right back. There's a few issues, John, we've got to solve, but we'll be right back.